All right, it is Mojo in the morning. Boy, Shannon, you had a rough night last night, and I don't know.
Scary.
I don't know how, as a parent, you ever get over something like this, but Lucy had an accident.
She did. She was horseback riding, and she fell off of the horse. Thank God she was wearing a helmet. She was pretty scraped up. Like, her knees were all scraped up. Her forehead was all scraped up where the helmet hit her head. And then my mom had called me. She was with my mom a couple of hours later and said, she's complaining that her arm hurts and it looks like it's starting to swell. Oh. And I was like, oh no. So this is where I feel like a really horrible mom. Lucy is quite dramatic, like someone else y'all know. And so, who could it be? So I was like, okay, I'm sure she's fine. So my mom said, I'm going to give her some Tylenol. I'm going to put ice on it. And I said, okay, cool. Call me with an update in a little bit. So she did. And she said, she's still complaining about it. This was about an hour later. And I said, okay, can you send me a picture? So she sent me a picture and she's like, I said to Lucy, we might have to go to the hospital. She was spending the night at my mom's house last night, by the way. That's why she was with my mom. And she said, I said to her, we may have to go to the hospital and get an x-ray. And Lucy was just absolutely freaking out about it. Did not want to go to the hospital. She's terrified of getting shots. So I thought, okay, well, just put her to bed. And then in the morning, if she's still complaining about it, we'll, take her in and get an x-ray. So I'm filling in Andrew on all this stuff. And he's like, no, we need to take her to the hospital. He's broken his femur before. And so he knew how important it was to catch it, if it needed to be set, and if indeed her arm was broken and all of these things. So fast forward to about 11:30 last night. I drive down to Grosse Ile. I grab Lou. I drive her back up this way so that we could go to DMC Children's in Troy so that she could be close to home, if something were to happen. Sure enough, you guys, she broke her arm in 2 places. Really bad break, too, to the point where they thought they needed to send her downtown for surgery. Thank goodness that's not the case. I felt so bad about it.
Well, what happens is so common. I hear this from parents a lot. You're so focused on their head or what they're complaining about, and you don't realize there's another injury.
Yeah. I mean, she was complaining about her arm, but I thought, this is girlfriend just being drama.
Or she's going to be hurting everywhere if she, that's a fall. Yeah.
Totally. But yeah, by the way, I do want to shout out the doctors and nurses at DMC Children's in Troy because they were so freaking phenomenal. So thank you. And I was with you guys until 2 a.m. So thank you for putting up with us.
So, when you first saw it, when you picked her up at your mom's house,
it was looking real crooked, real crooked, not good.
And you didn't notice that on any of the prior calls? Did you FaceTime or anything?
Yes, I FaceTimed, and my mom sent a picture, but I was like, is she holding her arm funny in the picture? I don't know.
What were you doing at the time that the phone calls were made, and you were telling Lucy, you'll be okay, go to bed and whatever?
I was out eating dinner.
Was it a good dinner? Or
I was having nachos. They were really great nachos.
Didn't want to interrupt those.
Can you wait? You guys,
this is like one of the. I honest to God thought of you because I remember that. Didn't the same thing happen to Luke? Was it his arm?
No, it was.
What was it? His wrist?
It was Jacob.
Oh, it was Jacob. That's right.
And I was at the rooftop singles party when it happened, and he broke both arms. Oof. And Chelsea called up while we were at Woody's in Royal Oak. Do you remember that place?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And she called up and she said, Jacob fell off the swing set and says his arm hurts. And I said, oh, so you just I same thing. I thought you're going to just get him aspirin, or what are you going to do? And she goes, I don't know. I'm thinking we got to bring him in. It's not good. And I'm on this rooftop thing, hanging out with a bunch of listeners, beautiful night and everything. And I'm going, I am the biggest a-hole in the world.
Yeah, I know.
And then you get to the hospital, and ours was one of those ones where we get to the hospital, and a parent had to be there while they did what Andrew was talking about, how they had to set it.
Right.
And a parent had to be there with them while they did the thing. Yeah. So Chelsea chose me to be the parent that's there, seeing that I was at the singles party, but also because of she wanted me to be there with Luke or Jake to try to calm him down.
It was so funny because Andrew and I are sitting there in the hospital room in the ER, and the doctor came in before they had done x-rays or anything, and the doctor was just so sweet. She took one look at Lucy's arm, and she was like, oh, yeah, that's definitely broken. I couldn't even look up at Andrew. I could feel his eyes like burning into my head.
The code word is going to be nachos.
But
that's what we're going to have our code word.
But at least the arm break happened on neutral ground, because
God,
imagine, because you already feel guilty enough with
not
the care.
necessarily neutral, because it's Shannon's mom's
my poor
house.
Mom. I know my poor mom. I think she's in the car right now too. She feels so terrible. It was such an accident, but
do you guys ever have that happen to you though, where if a kid gets hurt at one of the houses and stuff like that?
With any divorced couple, everybody immediately looks with side eye, like, "Were you watching? Were you paying attention?"
What's going on, Erica?
It was right before first grade, and I was with my aunt, and I was at one of those like kids gyms, and I broke my arm in two places, like Lucy, and I had to get taken away in an ambulance, and they set my arm, but it was like a holiday weekend, and the orthopedist just wanted to leave, and they set it wrong. And a couple of days later, I had to go back in and get it rebroken.
God.
So my mom was like, I remember she told me that I was like in really good spirits, or my aunt said, until I saw my mom through like that little peephole in the X-ray room.
Yeah.
And I just like buckled down and I apologized for breaking my arm.
Oh, jeez.
But I also just wanted to say that, Shannon, you shouldn't feel too bad, because my husband broke his wrist as a kid, and his mom is a nurse, and she didn't think that he had broken it, because kids sometimes don't swell like adults do with like, broken bones and stuff.
Yeah.
So she let him walk around with a broken wrist for like 4 days.
Oh, jeez.
Well,
You're not a bad mom.
Thank you, Erica. I appreciate that. You know what else I thought of? When I was a kid, my two younger sisters and I, we like wanted something broken so we could have a cool cast. So in my head, and I even said that to Lucy, in my head I was like, I feel like she just wants a cool pink cast for everybody to sign this summer.
You know,
again, I'm the worst mother ever.
No. So she is never, I know this from personal experience, she is never going to let this down. There will be a day, someday, where you go to yell at her about something, or you go to say something and she go, well, do you remember the time that I had a broken arm? I broke my collarbone when I was a kid. I was playing football. And I told my mom, and I was like, something hurts really bad. She just kept saying, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Because the way I broke it wasn't a cool football injury. Like somebody threw a football at my feet, and I tripped over it and fell. Yeah, so I went in. I was like, I broke my collarbone. She goes, no, you're fine. And then it turns out, I broke my collarbone. And I had to wear like one of those vests and everything.
Oh, God.
Mike still brings it up to this day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Anthony.
Yeah.
Hi. You broke your arm as a kid, and what did your parents tell you?
So I broke my arm when I was about 8 years old. I fell off a golf cart. We took a really sharp turn, and I just flung off the side. I landed on my arm. It broke in half. My bone was hanging out. It literally looked like I had two elbows at the time.
Ooh.
I walked into my house, and all I say to my parents is, I think I need a Band-Aid. They're then they're freaking out, rushing around, getting me ready to go hospital, and then we just go up to the hospital. The hospital we went to was like super, super busy. A nurse actually was like coming out from like the end of their shift, and they were like, "Whoa, you need to get back there right now." So they took me back.
Oh, jeez. Well, at least it was you that thought it was a Band-Aid and not your parents. Mm-hmm. Like Maddie, was how old were you at the time, Maddie? 10?
Yeah, I was 10.
And what did you break?
My wrist.
And did your parents believe you?
Well, we were doing bumper cars, and it was like kids against parents, and I got stuck in a corner and got slammed to a corner. My wrist was hurting. They took me off the court, and they told my mom, they're like, oh, she's fine, because the parents were winning. Mm-hmm. And once they got everyone off the court, my mom looked at my wrist. She's like, oh, yeah, we need to go to the hospital.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God. And it was, geez. Your parents probably thought that you were just upset that you were losing at bumper cars because you were in the corner. What's up, Amy? Listen to this one. Amy, and this is one of those things as a mom, do you still feel bad about it?
Yes.
What happened?
So my son is 20 years old now. This happened when he was 2. Mm-hmm. My ex-husband was away at basic training, and it was almost during the holidays. So I had a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 6-month-old. And we went to the mall with my mom and my stepdad. He jumped off that little, the turtle thing, and jumped off and said his foot hurt, and I was like, this is the kid that already like climbs on the top of the play skates at the park, so
right,
like no big deal,
right.
So my mom's freaking out. We go back to her house. I'm like, it's nap time. Let's just let him take a nap. And then he woke up from his nap. He was walking kind of fine. And then it was almost dinner time, and my stepdad and I were like, Mom, you're nuts. Like, just let him eat at least, and then maybe we'll take him. So after dinner, we took him to to just like a walk-in clinic in Ann Arbor, and they showed us the X-ray. My stepdad and I both got up, and we were like, "Oh, oops."
Yeah. Oh, I saw the X-ray last night too. Took a picture of it.
Yeah. You're not a bad mom. It's still hilarious. I still have his little cast in my hip chest as a reminder.
Real quick, it says here, did Dad make him go get a beer, or where's that from?
Oh, no, that must have been somebody else.
Is that somebody else? Oh, line 3. Okay, hold on. Let me go to that one. Because I thought it was maybe your stepdad that made him go get a beer. Hannah?
Yeah, so I was really little. I don't remember how old I was. We were at a party. My dad and all of his friends were in the basement playing poker, and I jumped off a chest with all the kids upstairs, broke my leg. I was at the top of the stairs yelling for him. And he's like, "Oh, you're fine. Come on down. Grab me a beer on your way down." I broke my leg in 2 places.
Oh, wow.
And Mike is right, Shannon. You will never live it down.
No,
I'm 30 years old, and I still bring it up with my dad. So,
Chelsea just reminded me in a text message that I just did the same thing to Luke not that long ago.
Okay, so I'm not crazy.
Maybe our kids need to understand we're radio people, not doctors.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And I was really hungry. Those nachos were so good.
And honestly, I'll be honest with you, my kid's leg could fall off, and if I have a good plate of nachos, I want those nachos the entire time.